Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I thought I would chat with you guys a little bit about lifting for yourself. Now hopefully my green screen doesn't get messed up because Nova decided he wanted to be in the room with me and he's running back and forth down here. We'll see what it does with the lights. So if you see anything happening behind me, it's the dog causing it, but he's needy this morning. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Alright guys, and by the way, I understand the irony of the fact that I'm a YouTuber who makes a living doing this and I put up all my training footage and I get paid for my workouts. I understand the irony of me, of all people, telling you that you should lift for yourself. That irony is not lost on me. But at the end of the day, you know, a lot of times people will ask me things like, why don't you do this sort of training instead? I think it will help your results better. Because I still have to some extent, do the things that I feel are most valuable in my life. And that's what I'm talking about with lifting for yourself. It's about bringing value to your life with the things that you choose to do. And I understand a lot of us start lifting for reasons that are beyond our personal self-improvement, that maybe they're more related to external goals oftentimes. A lot of you out there started lifting, here's two biggest reasons. Get better at sports, probably number two. Number one, because you think it's going to get you girls, right? You know, you're like, well, if I had a nice physique. I mean, I had this other YouTuber tell me that, you know, I got to do curls for the girls, rows for the hoes. Trying to get hoe ready. Or just in general, a lot of guys think that way. They think that, you know, it'll make them more attractive to the opposite sex or the same sex. And they get into lifting for this purpose of attracting other people to them, right? Or they're doing so to get better at sports. Now, I totally get both of those. I get both of those. I understand that. And those are good reasons to get started. But eventually, if that becomes your only motivator for training, the odds that you're going to stick it out in the long term aren't really there. For example, you start lifting to get better at football in high school. Well, what happens if you don't get your scholarship? How many guys out there lifted in the high school football room? Again, me being from Texas, I see this a lot. Actually got pretty decently strong at what they were doing, and then they quit because they're not playing football anymore. They went on to other things. You know, they finished high school, they didn't get a scholarship, they didn't play football further, they're done. That's the majority of guys who do that. Vast majority quit. You know, and then they go on the rest of their life talking about it. Oftentimes, yeah, I used to lift, you know. It's like, okay, well, no one cares, right? You shouldn't even care. But oftentimes it's for that external validation that we seek from other people. Because even if it's not girls, how many people go and post all their stuff now on social media, let everyone know they're working out? You know, they want to post the results there. And then they seek the approval of others. I mean, we see that with everyone putting up all their stuff on forums, on Instagram, on Facebook, everything else. People who are training looking for that external validation in their gains, right, in their appearance. Or we're seeking external validation with our strength. Posting your PRs, your videos up for people to see. And sometimes it's because, you know, you just want to do it, you're doing it yourself. For other people, though, they want that external validation. And I'm not saying that there's anything particularly wrong with that. All I'm saying is it's not always the best motivator that's going to add value to your life. Because that's ultimately what it comes down to. Training is part of self-improvement, right? It's part of improving yourself as an individual. And there's nothing wrong with improving yourself seeking external goals. But I think it's important for us to understand the idea that there's an intrinsic value in self-improvement. There's an intrinsic value, just like oftentimes people will get further education in something that may not have a practical value outside of themselves, but they become more knowledgeable, they become wiser, right? There's intrinsic value in improving yourself. There's intrinsic value in that. And when it comes to training, when you start training for your own personal improvement, There's a lot more going on in there, and it's. I'm not saying improved looks can't be part of it. Absolutely can, but there's something deeper to it than that. There's obviously the health issues, the health situation. I mean, the data at this point on resistance training and overall health is overwhelming. Yeah, we've always known, sure, it helps you have better body composition, right? We know it staves off osteoporosis and osteoarthritis and all these diseases that ravage all of your grandparents, right? It helps stave those off. It lets you keep certain elements of your youth for many, many years longer than other people, right? Keeps your injuries lower, your overall pain lower. It improves all of those things. We know now that it also reduces cancer rates, diabetes, and there's now even more emerging data showing that there's a strong correlation between things like your leg strength and resisting Alzheimer's and dementia up in 60s and older. Now that's an interesting one. I mean, again, this is about maintaining clarity of your mind for life. All right, these are very, very valuable things that come with it. But you're still dealing with the positive, just physical benefits, and those are good. Those are great. Those that alone is reason enough why people should train, just for the health benefits, right? But what about the other aspects? What about the therapeutic aspects of it? What about the discipline aspects of it? Because there is something very discipline inducing which boosts your self-esteem, can boost your confidence about actually training. And I don't mean going in and just playing around in the gym and doing 37 sets of cable curls. I'm talking about actually training with a progression pattern on all your lifts already kind of predetermined and working towards getting stronger for the purpose of gaining muscle, gaining strength, bone density, all these things, right? But you are training with purpose. Again, ensuring your progressive overload, using a training system. For a lot of us, that can bring additional discipline and structure to our lives, all right? And that can also have external value as well, because that can carry over into other endeavors. I mean, this is part of self-improvement. This is part of actualizing your potential as a person. Because there is a training tool for the mind and for the way that you think and the way that you view yourself that is involved with following a training system disciplinedly and being in the habit of doing so. All right, and that cannot be overlooked. Then there's also the therapeutic and empowering aspects of it. That is something that we have to think about as well. The empowerment involved with that. The release of negative energy that we can take out in the weight room. It's therapeutic for helping with everything from depression to anxiety. Some people even their PTSD. People who are survivors of, again, anything that causes trauma and PTSD, whether it's a sexual assault, a different physical assault, maybe even in the ravages of war or a massive traumatic event. There's a therapeutic aspect to getting in and training as well. And there's a sense of empowerment. And I think what ends up happening with a lot of people, unfortunately, I see this a lot. A lot of times when people go in and they train seeking purely external validation on how they look, they lose a lot of that confidence building benefit. Because the training itself they're doing would be building their confidence under normal conditions. But if they're doing it then seeking external validation, not getting that external validation they want, then reduces their self-esteem and they lose that sense of empowerment and everything else that they would have developed otherwise. And that's one of the problems I've noticed with the people who pursued the physique end of it, always putting it all up on social media when they're not looking their best and they haven't taken the perfect photo or they're not in the perfect lighting. They lose that self-esteem that they temporarily boosted seeking that external validation. And I've known plenty of even physique competitors and bodybuilders who, when they don't look their best, they're embarrassed by their body. They're very embarrassed and shy about it. And so you have people who would have had the potential to enormously build their sense of confidence, their sense of self-worth, can end up being diminished because they put too much focus on the seeking of the external validation, right? And I'm not saying again that it's wrong for you to do that. If you want some external validation and you can get a little bit and it's helpful to you in your life, by all means, that's not a bad thing. I mean, to put up a picture and to get compliments, I don't think that's a bad thing at all. But when you focus upon that too much and you don't focus upon the training for yourself, and the training for yourself physically, emotionally, spiritually, all these other reasons, when you don't focus on the bigger picture of it all and doing it for self-improvement, because again, you're seeking external validation, what other people think about you, you can diminish all those other benefits that you would have otherwise gotten from it. So it's important to keep that in mind in your training, that at the end of the day, you still need to train for yourself. You need to train for your own sense of self-improvement and betterment as a person, and actualizing your own potential and being the best version of yourself. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.